Talkin'! For educational purpose only.
What is up, guys? Now you know we're the plug-in, and we're here to hook you up, and we ain't talking no bullshit hookups either, fam. From grow lights to fertilizers, if you need dry or liquid organic fertilizers, Neptune's Harvest has got you covered. Made by growers, for growers, Neptune's Harvest has some of the best fish fertilizer around. Not just that, but their crab and lobster shell, the stuff is amazing. Lots of people don't always realize this, but after filleting a fish, there's lots of great stuff that remains, but may just go to waste. Now Neptune's Harvest was able to turn that amazing stuff into some great fertilizer that's used by many gardeners across the globe. Your plants will love you for it, dude. From veg and flower nutrients to loads of other organic inputs that you can work into your existing feeding schedules, it's truly amazing. Use the discount code ICANTHC for a nice discount on all Neptune's Harvest products. Now, light is also super important to get the best quality and product. The sun is perfect, but for those times when we can't harness the sun, the Moss Hydro Grow Lights never disappoint. They're full spectrum LEDs, they rock! They've got quantum board, bar style lights, they've got all types of styles. Their lights come with external dimmers, some models even have awesome detachable features as well. So use the discount code ICANTHC and snag a discount on your lights, exhaust systems, and more, even your grow tents, dude. Now Qualitrips has some awesome gear, and their germination booster is truly amazing. Definitely couple up their germination booster with some of their gear for amazing results. Discount code ICANTHC works on all Qualitrips gear. Now smash the like button down below, hit that bell, roll one up, and let's get ready to toke it down on today's episode.
We're about to take it back.
Okay. What is up, guys? How's it going? Welcome back to another episode on the Talkin Loud Podcast, where we discuss everything dank, icky, sticky, gassy, and all that good stuff. And today, we got a very special guest with us today, because I got on a grower, a breeder, a dad, a great guy, a good friend of mine who I literally spent the entire weekend with just a few days ago. And we went repping the entire weekend at the Dynamico booth at the Emerald Cup, man. And I am so pleased to have on with us today the big green guy. How's it going, dude?
How's it going?
Awesome, man. Well, you're looking spectacular under this light with this camera. Everything looks great, and I'm super stoked about that, man. Because guys, you may not know, you probably don't know, but we just tried to run the intro and get the stuff recorded, and it just didn't really work out. So we're shooting it over again. But everything happens for a reason, and we're here, and I'm super happy to have him with us, man.
Exactly. I'm stoked to be here too.
Hell yeah, man. How's it going, Paul? What's up?
It's going really good. Like we were saying before, it's snowing like a mother today. So I was running around all day long, and I know we wanted to get together and record this. So I'm like, should I be driving this fast down the highway with all the snow? It worked out. We're good. We made it in just with more than enough time. So
hell yeah, safety first though, you know. And when you told me like you'd be there 5 minutes later or whatever, I was like, dude, no worries, you know, take your time, brother. Don't slip and slide on the road.
Oh, that was still with me taking my time too. So, but all good.
And he still got here early, guys. So that goes to show. Oh man. Now, dude, one thing I always like to ask people on the show is about their name, dude. So like a lot of people come onto the show, they have different names, they have different inspirations behind those names. And I just grew to call you Paul, but a lot of people know you as the big green guy, and a lot of people know you for a lot of different reasons. You got over 10,000 followers on Instagram, guys. So guys, smash the like for that. We'll definitely put links to his stuff down below, but check him out for sure, man. But tell us a little bit about the inspiration behind your name, man, the big green guy.
So the big green guy has been with me for a long, long time. Not just the big green guy, but the big green guy is the Incredible Hulk. You know, that's where the big green guy comes from. So when I was 3 years old, I was a heavy kid, just a brute. And my mother used to call me the baby Hulk. So growing up, I always had Hulk t-shirts, Hulk stuff, and I liked the Hulk. I can relate to him, you know.
Yeah.
I was an angry teenager, so you didn't want to see me angry, you know, all that kind of stuff. So when I started growing, and it became legal in Massachusetts, I started my Instagram page so I could basically kind of log just my grow. I wasn't looking for followers. I wasn't looking for sponsorships, nothing. I wanted to be able to look back and say, all right, this is what my stuff looked like last year. You know what I mean? And it just grew from there. I got super into the community and helping people. And I did that because when I first got on IG, I still had questions. I still had a lot of stuff that I was trying to figure out.
Yeah.
And a lot of people helped me out. A lot of people stepped up and helped me out, like Firebuds, which he's been a guest on your show, and Real Thor from Biking Genetics. He's been a huge help to me over the years. Dan Jimmy from Gnome Automatics has been awesome.
Yeah.
And just huge people that I didn't even know back then that these were huge names or anything. I just was like, hey, I saw your post kind of thing. I got a question, and they all answered. And that was cool. They're busy people. They don't, they have families, they have lives and stuff. And so when I started to get more knowledge, I wanted to share that knowledge. So I put it out there that, hey, if you have a question, reach out to me. And I do. I mean, I get a ton of messages every day at people asking me about different things, and I always answer every one of them. It takes some time, obviously, but I love doing it. It's the community. The community's given me so much, and I've only given back a teeny fraction so far, and I just want to keep giving back. So that's where the Big Green Guy came from. And it was available. I didn't know that getting a name on Instagram can be difficult sometimes. I typed that in, it was available. I'm like, cool.
Thank you. Don't mind if I do.
And I don't think I've ever actually told my origin story, the origin story, on any of the podcasts or anything that I've been on. So cool. I got to share it with you.
Yeah, man. I appreciate that. I always like hearing everyone's story, man, because a lot of people got different stories, different inspirations. And I know that you are the Big Green Guy, and we were chilling out with the Real Green Monster, So a lot of people, they all have these inspirations and meanings and reasonings behind their name. So I was really stoked to find yours out, man, because I literally think of you as the Big Green Guy in my head, and I think of Monster as Monster.
People call me they'll say, hey, Green Guy, what's going on? Or hey, BGG, what's up? And I'm like, so on my Instagram page, it says Bruce Yoda Banner. Right. So the first time I ever was recognized, say in public, I was at my grocery store, and a guy was looking at me from the end of the aisle. I'm like, what the hell's up with this creep? And I finished, I was going to check out, and the guy steps out around the corner. I'm like, what's up? And he's like, is your name Bruce? I'm like, no. He's like, no, you're the Big Green Guy. You're the Big Green Guy. I'm like, oh yeah, on IG. Yeah, I'm the Big Green Guy. He's like, oh man, it's so cool. I watch your stuff, and I follow you and all that. And it was like, I felt like, I'm like, this is kind of weird that people are recognizing me from Instagram and stuff. He was like, it was great to talk with you, Bruce. And I told him what my name was. I told him my name was Paul, and he still called me Bruce, but that was okay. So I do get people. I've had people reach out to me. Are you the guy that made Bruce Banner? And I'm like, no, that's not me. That's Dark. I think it's Dark Owl. No, Dark Horse Genetics who made Bruce Banner. And I'm like, no, that's not me. I wish it was, but no, that's not me. So yeah, I mean, it's been a great experience overall with everything,
I like that, man. I like that. And that is a funny story, dude, because actually when I was first trying to search your name on Instagram, sometimes Instagram does not let you search people's name and whatever. Right. And I was trying to find it, and I would type in the Big Green Guy and it would not come up, but I would type in Bruce Yoda Banner and it would pop right up. So I just found myself literally typing in Bruce Yoda, and every single time it would come up, dude. So that's freaking crazy.
If it's not coming up right now, it must mean that I got shadow bans on.
I hope not. But that's just how the cookie crumbles sometimes. I think I'm shadow banned as well, Sometimes they lift it, and hopefully you get it lifted, man,
Yeah.
But we were actually kicking it out at the Emerald Cup, man. And for those who don't know, this is the Big Green Guy wearing all black. He's not wearing green. He's wearing all black. But we still had a blast of a time. These Dynamico hoodies are amazing, guys. But guys, if you don't know about Dynamico, it's definitely an awesome product. Big Green Guy, do you use Dynamico?
I've been using Dynamico for over 2 years, about 2.5 years.
Sweet.
And I've pulled all the different Mycos and all the different things and done comparison grows. I've done it myself because I wanted to know, I'm paying for this stuff. Is this other stuff better?
Yeah,
Yeah, maybe
true.
it's a little more expensive, but is it better? And
Smart.
I ran side by sides. I ran, comparisons of 3 different ones, same genetics, and it's even easier for me to do now where I do my own breeding and stuff. I know what my plants are going to look like. So I know, is this working? Is this working? Is this working? And nothing even came close with the Dynamico. It's, from start to finish, it kills them all. Yeah, of course I appreciate being able to go out there and being sponsored with the trip and stuff. But I'm not sponsored by them. I'm not affiliated with them in any way, shape, or form. So if I talk about a product, it doesn't matter. I'm not getting anything back. So if people want to use it, use it. This stuff works, and that's all I have to say. Try it for yourself.
Yeah, give it a try if you haven't already. It's definitely worth the shot. And it comes in some pretty awesome packaging as well. It literally looks just like a stick of dynamite. If you guys don't know about it, you definitely need to get into the know. This is Big Green Guy here, sharing the love, sharing the Dynamico love. But most definitely, man, I fully agree with you because I have been using Dynamico for quite some time now as well. And I actually switched over from some of the other stuff, like, your Great Whites and the Mycos and all that other stuff. And I just thought I got great results with the Dynamico, and when I looked into it, Ari actually broke it down and he explained that, a lot of the fungi and bacteria that you'll find in the Dynamico is more, geared towards your medicinal plants as opposed to some of the other ones that is filled with mycorrhiza, but that's for like tall trees, birch trees and stuff. Like we ain't growing no fucking 200-year-old trees, are we, dude? We're growing some plants and gonna life
but not that kind of trees.
Exactly, man. Exactly. So I'm glad you said that, man. So for those who don't know, definitely check it out. Use the discount code ICANTHC. Snag a little discount on some of your stuff, man. But yeah, before we get into anything else, man, I want to ask you guys just to smash the like button because we got a great guest on with us today, and I just want to find out a little bit more about him. So, Big Green Guy, tell me a little bit about how you got into like the industry, how you got into gardening. I know you do some breeding and stuff. Like, just tell us a little bit about how it all started off.
Oh boy, just a little bit, huh? Okay,
so tell us a lot. You can tell us everything.
I've been around THC I've been around cannabis and growing it since I was a kid. Wow. It's never been taboo in my family. Obviously it was illegal, but I've been around it forever. I won't get into specific stories because I don't want to incriminate anybody. It's probably past the statute of limitation. But anyway, so my first experience of actually smoking it was I was 14. Wow. And it was my nephew's dad. Okay. Who he came over and he's like, hey, you want to smoke? And I had made my room in the basement. I had the whole basement to myself. It was like my little bachelor pad. And he comes down. He's like, you want to try to smoke some weed? And I'm just like, sure, fuck it, let's do it. So we had one of these metal pipes that, you like screw the pieces together and you had a little screen in it and stuff. Yeah. Totally handmade, nothing fancy or anything.
Throwback.
And we're smoking and I start coughing because I took way too big of a hit. I start coughing. I can't stop coughing. So he's like, "Go! You got to go in the other room. Your mom's gonna hear you or something through the floor." And I go where the boiler is, and I'm like coughing my brains out. So I had only taken maybe 2 or 3 hits out of this thing, and he's like, "All right, I'm gonna go upstairs." I calm down. I'm gonna go upstairs. I'm gonna go upstairs. I'll come check on you a bit. Now, some people don't get high when they first smoke. I was like, holy shit, I was high. Like
ripped.
I was probably where we were the weekend at the Emerald Cup, like that high, And I had a trundle bed. That's the one that has the bed up top and you can pull the one out from underneath.
Yeah.
I crawled on the bottom one and then I pulled myself underneath the bed and I'm just laying there because I don't know, it felt right to do. So then he comes down at me like 20 minutes later and he's like looking for me. He's like, Paul, where the hell are you? Where are you? And I just started laughing. Like horrible giggles like you read about kind of thing. And he looks down, he's like, what the hell are you doing in there? And I burst. I was done. And I had my own entrance and exit and stuff. And we actually had to walk out into the woods to get away from the house because I was being so loud. It was something else. That was my first experience with smoking cannabis.
Yeah.
And I've been a fan ever since, believe it or not.
I've been a fan ever since. Right on. I love
as far as modern times and growing, I had a friend of mine a few years back. I think it was summer of 2018.
Yeah.
He brought over 3 clones.
Okay.
And they were clones of moms that he had, but they were 3 feet tall. So they weren't baby plants. They weren't little, clones.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, you can just plant them right in the garden or plant them out over here or whatever, and they'll grow. And I'm like, cool. But he meant like plant them in a garden where people can't see them in your yard. Well, no, I put them right in the center in our raised garden beds. in the middle of our yard. 3 plants.
This guy.
By the end of the summer, they were huge. They were like, I don't know, 4 feet across, but I had netting and stuff, but they were like pushing through the netting on both sides. They were like taller than me, and I'm 6'1". So they were like huge, just huge plants. I harvested over 3 pounds between the 3 plants that year. And I'm like, what am I going to do with all this? Because I don't sell weed. I don't, none of that kind of crap. I just grow for myself, my wife, my family. My friends will come over and I'll give them stuff every now and then. So I'm like, what the hell am I going to do with all this?
Yeah.
So that was my first experience, and I really didn't do anything to those plants. So I can't take credit for anything to do with them. We put them in some compost, and I watered them when it was dry for a few days in a row kind of thing. And then obviously I harvested them. But yeah, those were huge ass plants. Let me tell you. And
right there in the middle of the raised garden beds, in the middle of the garden,
maybe 40 feet off the road. People smell it. There was a walking trail that went behind our property too, so you could see it from both sides.
Shit. Did I smell the whole street, the entire block?
Oh, it definitely started to smell towards the end for sure. But I ended up taking like a screen kind of thing and putting it in front and back so people couldn't see it. But I mean, shit, there's no hiding that. When it's going good, it's pretty strong. So it's good, really. And I was hooked after that. And so I started. I was looking into bringing my grow indoors because I wanted to grow. I loved the process. I was finding myself towards the end going out and looking at different things and checking the trichomes and like just like totally nerding out on it. And I was like watching videos and listening to podcasts and like I was just like really getting into it at that point, right?
Yeah.
And so I actually started. I think it was November 21st. I planted my first seeds, and I went with autoflowers because I didn't have a way to have a light, tight space.
I got you.
So autoflowers are perfect for that kind of thing. They're good for a lot of other things, but that was perfect.
Yeah.
And I think my first setup, I did it in a closet in my bedroom, in our master bedroom or whatever. It was maybe like 3.5 by 4 foot. So it was a good sized closet.
I did the same thing, dude. Closet grow first run.
I had a blurple that I used, because I didn't know anything about LEDs, but I'm like, oh, this is great. I'll just use this thing. It says it's like 600 watts. No, it was probably 60 watts or something.
And you can switch the colors.
Yeah, you turn it on. It's purple. I mean, my wife loves purple. This is going to be great. And so I took some Panda film and I lined the walls and did it on the floor and, and whatever. And I grew 4 plants. And they all came out good. They weren't like super dense or anything. I probably harvested them a little bit too early, but overall they were really good. They came, I dried them. The smoke was really good and everything. And
nice.
Once I took down that first plant, the first autoflower, I was like an autoflower fanatic.
Shit.
So those 4 plants, they filled up that space, as they can. Now that was my first like indoor run, like first time really doing anything as far as cannabis, growing other than the stuff I grew outside, which I really didn't have to pay much attention to.
Yeah.
So I netted, I think 11 ounces off of those 4 plants. Wow. And I was stoked. I was like, this is like 2 years worth of smoke for me. This is awesome. And right, as my first grow, that was badass. So I'm like, not per plant, total, total between the 4.
No, but total, bro. That's excellent, bro. I
was happy with it.
Wow.
Yeah. And the smoke was good. We got high off it, whatever. And I was searching for something to help my wife. My wife has really bad anxiety, so I wanted to help her. And that's been one of my main goals, still is, as far as like breeding and even trying to find new things for her to try. Yeah. Trying to find that next thing that might help her. So my second thing, I'm like, I was able to fit 4 in there. I'm going to put 6 in there. And then one of the sprouts didn't come up. So I planted another seed in there. And then all of a sudden I got 2 in there. So I had 7 plants in there. And it was way too tight. I mean, I got through, but there was no doing nothing with those plants. And I'm surprised I didn't run into any problems with like bud rot or like PM or any. I didn't run into any of those kind of problems early on in my grows. And I was drying just in like a little 2x4 tent, hang behind a little 2x4 tent. It's like my buddy who gave me the original plants, he's like, you need to dry these. You need to have, air, but not right on them. And he explained the whole process to me, the temperatures and stuff as best I can. And I was able to do that. But in the meantime, I'm growing these other plants And then I get about 30 days in. I'm like, you know what? They're not really that big. So I'm going to plant new ones and just like solo cups in between everything, so that when these ones are all done, I'll have the next round right away. They'll be ready to go. That didn't work out at all.
You sound just like me, dude.
I ended up, it was getting warmer now. It's probably like April or, end of April into May. And we had a big garage. So I bought a 4x8 tent and I put it up in the garage.
Okay.
And that was kind of where my breeding started, So I had grown out a strawberry cheesecake and a Bobby's Widow by Mandalorian, but now, know him now, but it was Mandalorian genetics back then.
Yeah.
And I grew up both of those plants. And when they were dried and cured and everything, my wife tried them and she's like, I really like these two. These ones actually helped me like a lot, not all the time, but she was able to flip flop back and forth.
Yeah.
So I'm like, you know what, if I can take, and I continue to listen to podcasts, like reading books, watching videos. I still to this day do that. I think when you stop learning, you should just stop growing.
Yeah.
Because you're going to stop growing. And, so that's when I decided, and I reached out to Dan. I'm like, hey, would it be okay if I did this? Because I want to not get his, blessing or, whatever. I don't want to be a dick.
Yeah.
So I reached in, he's like, yeah, go ahead, and I never had any intention on breeding long-term or anything. I was just looking to try to help my wife.
Yeah.
And the stuff that came out of it, that first generation, I was finding like really, really good things in it. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to keep bringing this forward. I'm going to make, because I didn't make a ton of seeds the first time. For that F1 generation, I maybe got 100 seeds.
Yeah. Okay.
And it sounds, to a person, 100 seeds, holy shit, that's a lot of seeds. But it's in breeding terms, that's like nothing.
Yeah, it's not a whole lot. Yeah.
So I continued it forward into the second generation, and then I bought some breeding books and I started reading those, and I'm like, I'm growing out the second generation. I'm like, holy crap. Because there were so many new different varieties I was seeing compared to the F1. I'm like, in the F1, I saw maybe 9 different things that popped up,
Yeah.
And some of them look like the mom, some of them look like the dad, some of them look like a combination, some of them were like, I don't know, little special bus riding ones. And I'm like, holy, wow, this is very interesting. So I kind of picked a couple, and I'm like, all right, I'm going to put these in their own tent, just in a little 2x4, just let them do their thing. And I'm going to get as many seeds as I can. And I got like, gosh, I don't know, 12,000 seeds, something like that, out of a fully pollinated plant. It was like a ridiculous amount of seeds. And that created the F2 that I then hunted through hundreds before I found, because I would collect pollen off any males I really liked and store it. And I was looking for that female that I'm like, this is the one right here. This is the one, it.
Yeah. And
so that's how I got to the F3. And then when I hit F3, I stayed there for 2 years because I kept growing out plants, and nothing was really catching my eye. There was nothing that was like, holy shit, this thing has like inhuman vigor. This is what I got to use.
Yeah.
And then earlier this year, I found the one that I really, really wanted. Bred those together, sent them out to my testers. They tested a bunch of them, and they were awesome. And then I feminized it. So I locked in that trait.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm excited. I mean, that's my funeral desserts. That's what I call it. So strawberry cheesecake times Bobby's Widow.
I like that, man.
And it was an homage to Full Duplex, Dan Jimmy. The FD funeral desserts, Full Duplex. It was kind of an homage to him in that whole process. He helped me out a lot as far as just answering questions and stuff during that time. Bobby's Widow's his. So I mean,
yeah. And for those who don't know, that Mandalorian is formerly what was formerly Mandalorian is now Gnome Genetics, right?
Yes. Yeah.
All right, that's just for those who don't know, man. We actually were kicking it out with AJ out there. He hooked us up with some of those beans. I can't wait to run them. Fucking crazy, man. But like your story is so like inspiring. It's amazing. I love hearing people's stories, man. And that story is freaking crazy. And I just like seeing like your growth and your progression. You sound like you always just had a love for the plant ever since that first choke on that homemade, that homemade pipe, man, and you coughing coughing just behind the boiler so your mom's doesn't find out and stuff, man. Like, I love that
Yeah.
stuff, man. And then,
Yeah, it
it
was
just
great.
transitioned into you actually growing a plant and, loving the growth process and actually now doing some breeding, just to find that specific strain to help your wife out with her anxiety and stuff, man. I just love all of it, man. So that is freaking amazing. But brother, tell us a little bit about your setup, man, your current setup. What's going on with your current setup? I look through your Instagram and I see you got a lot of tents, a lot of lights, a lot of fans, a lot of stuff going on, man. So tell us a little bit about it.
So I have a few different areas set up in my house, and then I breed away from my house.
Okay.
At my buddy's house. Now, he's a very private person, so I don't post anything that's really going on there. I'll have pictures, individual flowering plants and stuff like that, but I don't really get into specifics in the room because he doesn't want to share that yet.
I got you.
I get it. He's not in a legal place to grow, so I get it.
Fair enough.
And so here I have an 11 by 16 room. And in that, I use the frame of a 4x8 tent, and that's where I hang my lights off of, my exhaust fans, and different things like that.
Yeah.
That's what. And we're in a different room now, but when we were in the other room before, that's what was right behind me. That's where I keep all my mothers, where I'll flower out some autoflowers and things like that.
Yeah.
So, and then opposite those, I have two tents set up. I have a 4 foot by 5 foot tent, and then I have a 3 foot by 3 foot tent, and those are for photo periods.
Sweet.
Flowering out photo periods or flowering out ones that I'm testing, to see which ones I want to keep. So what I'll do is I'll pop, say, a 10 pack of seeds. If they're feminized, I'll pop all 10.
Yeah.
Grow them out until I can take a clone. Once those clones have rooted, I put the clones into a tent to flower them out. So I wanna basically get a taste of all of them. And I have friends of mine who come over and we'll go through 1 through 10. All right, how's the taste on this? How's the taste on that? To see if it's similar for everybody. But I also get a very small glimpse into how they grow.
Smart. I like that.
Yeah, so I mean, you're maybe getting, I don't know, 1/4 of an ounce off each plant, 1/2 ounce off each plant if you're lucky.
Yeah.
They're very small plants. They're less than a foot tall usually, or 1.5 feet tall.
Yeah.
And I want to have enough for everybody to try. So we'll usually try to narrow it down to 4 plants.
Okay.
So out of the 10, we try to narrow it down just based on the smoke.
Yeah.
To those 4 plants, And I'm checking trichomes on because I want to harvest them all around the same time, but I'm taking copious notes on, how's the trichomes at this day? How's the trichomes this day? What is the average of the harvest day kind of thing?
Yeah.
Because if I'm going to use this in breeding or if I'm growing out for myself, I want to know anyway.
Yeah.
So then I run those. We pick the 4, let's say it's 1, 2, 3, and 7 are the ones we pick. Now I take those, I take clones off of the seeded ones. Again, I keep the clones once they're rooted, and I put those, because now they're bigger plants, I put those out to flower. I grow them out fully. I train them. I'm looking for different things. And then I'll know, all right, well, yeah, I know this one was the one we really liked the best, but the structure sucks. Or the buds are just stupid larvae, or they're just not. It's more, if I was growing hash, that's what I'd want, a looser bud and that kind of stuff. But where I smoke mostly flower, I want those nice tight buds. I want to get the most bang for my buck. If I'm growing this thing out for myself, I want the most bang for my buck.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
And then if I'm using it in a breeding project, I also want to bring forward what I feel is the best as far as structure wise, side branching, obviously the frost coverage and, things like that are important as well. So then after I grow those 4 completely out, that's when we do the round table. We all taste test them again. And
I like that. That sounds like a fun process.
It's one of the most fun processes. But at the time, I also get yields, like which one yielded the best, which one looks the best, which one, all that kind of stuff. Because again, I don't really necessarily care about the looks, but if I'm going to be using this to breed, there are people out there that do.
Yeah.
So that's why that kind of thing's important. And this is all photo period breeding. I'm not even talking about auto. That's a whole different thing. Like holy crap, a whole different thing. So so this is just the photo one. That's how I basically narrow it down to my mom's. And I like to get more than just 10 seeds though. So that was it's easy to give the example with 10 seeds.
Yeah.
So whenever I can, I'll get 100 seeds or 50 seeds or something, because I want to narrow it down as quickly as I can to, all right, what do I think is the best of this, 100.
Yeah.
Or 50 or whatever, however many I can actually get. And that, a lot of those happen down where I do most of my breeding. So a lot of those kind of hunts, but you saw some in the other room, the specific ones I'm growing out because I want them personal too.
Yeah.
And I can actually do some testing on them and do different things with that here. So secondary to that, I have a room that I use specifically for testing. I have a few tents set up in there, and I can change the temperature. Right now I can drop it down around 30 degrees Fahrenheit, and I can bring it up to 100 degrees Fahrenheit in the room. Damn, or 99 degrees Fahrenheit.
Yeah.
So I can stress test plants using heat, humidity. I can let them, really dry out. I can let them overwater them. I can do all the different things that a lot of like newer growers, the mistakes they'll make.
Yeah.
And see if they go intersex or, throw, don't do things I want them to do. Do they freak out because there was a 10-degree temperature swing? Or are they good with a 70-degree temperature swing kind of thing? So, I mean, that's an extreme. Then that's not going to happen. But I'm testing for all that kind of stuff. I'm overfeeding them. I'm like hardly giving them anything. I'll grow them in soil, cocoa, hydro, all different kind of things to test them in different ways. And then when making seed, I've done that all myself on the seeds. I grow them out. And then if they pass my test like that, that's when I send them out to my testers. Okay.
I got you.
And then they're all running in different ways, different environments, different, parts of the country or world, people up in Canada. There's a guy that was one of my testers in Australia. Yeah. So
dope.
They're all over, so they get tested in all these different environments, which is great.
Yeah.
And then if they've grown them out and I'm getting all positive feedback back from them, and that's from, again, seed to harvest, and then they dry and cure it, try it, that's when I make the decision, okay, this is something that I'm going to release.
Yeah.
Or this is something I'm going to move forward with, not even just release, just move forward with. Because my photo periods that I've been working on, I haven't released anything that's photo period yet.
I got you.
Only autoflowers. So, and that's big. I don't want to put stuff out there that's crap.
Yeah.
If I'm going to put my name behind something, that thing has to mean something. It's not. I've seen a lot of people that, they're making seeds and they just come and go. They're not here long term, and they're passing on stuff that's not that good.
Yeah.
And that's not cool. You're not being a member of the community in that case. You're trying to screw people over.
Yeah.
And I don't want to do that.
For sure, dude.
So
I like that. I like that ethos that you have. No, I'm not talking about like ethos genetics, but I like that mantra that you stand for per se, So I think that's big, man. And you did mention previously that sometimes when you find that male that you really like the pollen with, and that's a keeper and stuff, you will keep some of that pollen. How long would you usually keep that pollen for? And like, what's your process like? Do you freeze it? Like, what do you do?
So if I'm keeping it long term, what I'll do is I make sure it's bone dry. Like
Okay.
as dry as I possibly get it. Desiccant packs, rice, whatever. I'm going to put some flour in there because I want something that's going to suck up any moisture. Moisture will kill pollen.
Yeah.
And then I'll put it in the crisper drawer in my refrigerator in like a brown paper bag.
Okay.
After that, if I'm keeping it long term, then I am going to put it in the freezer.
Okay.
But I would say pollen, from my experience and what I've seen, lasts 3 to 6 months. Okay. The longer you have it, the less viable it becomes.
Yeah.
So I try to use it as soon as I can. It's much easier to do on autoflowers.
Yeah.
But also if I'm growing a photo period out and it's in the process of flowering out, if I don't think I'm going to have something else I can put this on, I'll put it on that just to preserve that male kind of.
Yeah.
Now I also have, and that's more so for the autoflowers, because the photo period, if I find a male that is dumping, I have a clone of that male anyway.
Yeah.
So I don't have to worry about saving a bunch of pollen. I still do.
When you said dumping, dude, I just thought of taking a shit. So for those who don't know what dumping means, just break it down for them. when that
So
male is dumping, dude.
it's you know what, a males can dump and females can dump. So in the
Yeah.
hash making industry, you want a female that dumps.
Okay. Yeah. Wow. Interesting.
In the breeding industry, you want a male that dumps. You know,
Okay.
if you're breeding, with males and females. So that's just a dumper would be a male that releases a lot of pollen.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Where with a female, a dumper would be one that has a lot of trichome heads and creates a lot of
heavy
hash,
producer.
Percentages of hash. So that's all that means. It does not mean to take a crap. I promise you.
You caught me with that one, man. Oh, I love it, man. I love it. Now, you also mentioned, dude, like you do a lot of the stress testing on the plants. So I think that's super important, man. So props to you on that. Now, have you noticed anything funny that came up in like any of your stress tests? Like, what's the most weirdest, strangest thing you've seen come up?
I don't know if I'd say it's the strangest thing I've seen come up. I would say I would compare it to like the strangest things I do to the plants. So, for example, right now there's 2 plants outside.
Yeah.
And it's snowing. We got 6 inches of snow today.
Yeah.
So they're going to stay outside tonight. Then I'm going to bring them back in and see if they'll come back to life.
How?
They're, for all intents and purposes, going to freeze tonight. They're in 1-gallon pots.
That's a mad temperature swing.
So I'm going to do that and then bring them into my test room, slowly warm them back up and see if they'll come back to life. Yeah. If they do, well, they can survive extreme conditions. I feel like I can do that. I can say that. So yeah, that's what's going on right now.
This is literally what's going on right now, guys. Like the big green guy sent me this morning. He was literally on the road. And he was like, "Look at what's going on where I'm at," and I'm like, "Damn, bro."
Yep. So yeah, that's a test that I've done, and I've seen it. I've seen the plant come back in percentage wise more often than not, believe it or not. Okay. Leaving it outside and basically freezing conditions when it's snowing and just crappy and whatever.
Yeah,
they can survive. This plant is amazing when it comes to that kind of thing. They can survive. They may not thrive, obviously, in that condition. They're going to stunt. And eventually it will die. It'll freeze and die.
Yeah.
But for a day, so I looked at it like, I'm going to try this because what happens if someone is in Alaska and their power goes out for a day or 2?
Yeah.
And they can't really do anything to keep their plants warm. Are they going to survive? So I want to, they do, or at least a percentage of them will survive. And the ones that don't, well, I can't use them for breeding because they're dead.
Yeah.
So, that's just one of the kind of the extreme tests that I like to try to do.
Yeah.
I've seen some weird things in testing, like the leaves, if it gets too hot or they don't like the light, they'll flip entirely over on you. And, or they'll taco if they get too hot or there's too much light, or they'll, I don't know, basically like flip you off and tell you, I don't like this.
Yeah.
So nothing like create, obviously there's the ones that they go intersex and are now showing male and female parts, but other than that is like the biggest thing I'm looking for, because I'm trying to make these things do that. I'm trying to make them do something that you don't want them to do. So, and it's a blessing and a curse, because the ones that just don't, under like hardly, you have to put every single condition at them at the same time.
Yeah.
In order for them to do it. Those ones are nearly impossible to reverse. Damn. It's almost like this plant does not have the capability of turning into a male. It just doesn't, So, which is great for, for people that are just wanting to grow out, they get a mixed pack or a pack of regs or something. But I found that it's becoming more, people want femmes more than regs now. If they're not breeding or don't plan on it, they want femmes. I love the hunt. I love going through regs. Yeah. So I'll always probably buy regs, and plus,
I love regs as well too, man.
Being I don't want to call myself a breeder because I don't think I'm quite there yet, but being a seed maker, we'll call me right now. I'm continuing to do that. So I always want to look for that next special thing that might be out there, and then see,
Gotcha.
I'm going to hit it to this. I'm going to hit it to that. My first photo period that's going to come out was actually one called The Sauce.
The Sauce.
And it's a photo to auto project. So I took one of my auto flowers, which is called Odin Sons. That's actually the one that I gave away at the show. I think grab some of those seeds, I think.
Yeah, I got it back.
So that I crossed to cherry pie.
Yeah.
And so the F1 generation that are all going to be photo periods. You might get an outlier, 1 in 1,000. That's an autoflower, but majority of them going to be photo periods. Yeah. So I want to take and isolate this into a photo period and into an autoflower, which is a lot of work.
Yeah, that ain't easy.
But right now what I'm doing is I hunted and found a mom that I really liked. And I'm reversing her so that I can make feminized seeds, because a lot of people that have tried the flower are finding really good medicinal relief from it.
Okay, nice. So, that's good stuff.
Like I get migraines. I suffer from migraines chronically. So I've always been looking for something. And this is the first thing I found, that if I feel one coming on, I can smoke this and it's like my whole face relaxes. Yeah, it's why, and then it stems the migraine or makes it so it isn't really quite as bad.
Yeah.
Secondary to that, I sent it to a few people that are out there. Captain Autoflower from Cultivation Conversation. I sent it to his wife because she actually suffers from TMJ, which is lockjaw.
Oh shit!
I sent her a couple cones here. Have her try this. Let me know if she's getting the benefits that I'm getting too.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. And she did. And Moss has tried it, and he's found some things. Grow has tried it. She's found some things, and I have a few other people on my test team that have tried it.
Yeah.
And everybody's getting the same results. I'm like, I'm going to reverse this. I'm going to test it out, have people grow it out, and see if they're still getting the medicinal benefits. Because if they are, then I'm going to release it. And I want to release it for like just dirt cheap. And I want all the proceeds to go to Cause for Paws, which is an organization that helps out dogs. Like
I love that, bro.
No kill shelters around.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's going to be like mid next year when these things will even be ready. But that's my intent. That's what I want to do with this. Yeah. And then I want to collect some of the pollen and make new crosses with it as well.
Yeah.
Because I just think the name game kind of thing can be fun. You take one thing, put another thing, and what sounds neat putting these things together. And the sauce actually came from one of my testers that grew it out. He's like, I don't know what this is, you won't tell me, so I'm just calling it the sauce.
Yeah.
And it just stuck.
I like that. I also like that little shake you just did there. I love that little shake, bro. Oh man. Now another thing I wanted to ask you, man, but actually before we go on to that, man, you actually mentioned the cause for pause. Is that what it was?
Yes. Yep.
That is amazing, dude. I love dogs. I have a dog myself, and you just do so many, good things in terms of giving back, man. You also mentioned to me before that you donate beans to vets and stuff so that they can get their grow running and they can get themselves up on their feet.
There's a guy on Instagram called Boots to Buds, and they actually support veterans, and they donate different grow equipment and seeds and things like that. And yeah, I've sent a bunch of seeds out there that they've been able to give away to vets and stuff. And it's just a really good cause. The Cause for Paws is actually run by, what is his name now? Of course, I'm not going to remember.
You know how that should go.
Well, there's the main guy, and then Autoflower Dummy. See, who Autoflower Dummy is?
Yeah.
So he's like the second guy in the group. So I apologize to Cause for Paws, but you can look it up on IG. I believe it's Cause 4 Paws, PAWS.
Okay.
And that's what it's going to be. They're actually setting up an LLC, so it's all legit. It's all whatever is going to go to them. I'm not even going to have anybody send me anything. It's all going to go straight to them.
I got you.
And then that they should help out. They just actually raised almost $19,000 doing auctions back in November for Bulldog Rescue in Detroit. So that's huge. I mean, they're doing good things, they're doing good things. And I like that I can be a part of that, and
yeah, dude.
I donated a bunch of stuff, and the coolest thing about it, so I donated stuff and people bid on it or whatever. And the total of the stuff that I donated sold for $420. So $420. What's
$420? Wow.
What's better than that, right?
Yeah, nothing. That everything worked out the way it was meant to work out for that, man. That's perfect, man. Now you also grow some amazing plants, dude. I'm talking like beautiful plants, massive plants with some fat, thick colas, stems, everything, man. Like this one that we got right here. So tell us a little bit about like how do you actually grow your plants? How long do you veg them for? Like what's your preferred style of growing?
Well, the majority of my plants, other than in the test room, are grown in cocoa. So I grow in cocoa perlite.
Okay.
That stem right there, I believe, was from Slime God, which is a Firebud genetics.
Yeah, it says that right here.
That plant was vegged out for probably 6 months.
Damn.
I was growing other things.
Yeah.
And the thing, it was meant to go outside. I was growing it because a buddy of mine said, "Oh, I'm going to put it outside. I'll come get it." And yeah, he never came and got it. So, the fall time came and I'm like, well, I'm just going to flower this thing out and hope that it doesn't, grow through the top of my tent. And it was the first time I ever did a scrog.
Yeah.
And I scrogged it out and I got in touch with Northern Scrogger. I'm like, am I doing this right? And it's like, yeah, it looks great to me,
Yeah.
And yeah, that thing was massive. I got over 2 pounds off that plant.
Jesus.
What was it? It was I have it written down. I can't think of the numbers right now. I'm too high. Yeah, that was a monster. The Cake Killer OG, which is also by Firebud Genetic. That's the one that is in that bigger tent right now, and she's massive too. She filled up the whole entire tent.
I got you.
And then in the small tent that's in there, the small tent, the 3x3, which is the smallest of them in there.
Big tent.
That's actually the sauce reversal project in that small tent right there.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Man, you got a lot going on in there.
Yeah, along with all my mom. So I have to be careful if I'm breeding in my house that I'm not flowering anything out. And I use auto pots, so that makes it a lot easier.
Yeah.
Because I have the big tent is sealed off. There's no pollen getting in there. And I don't have to even go in anymore because everything's been defoliated. It's just it's going into senescence now for about 2 more weeks. And at this point, if it got seeded, it wouldn't be a huge deal anyway. But yeah, that particular one was the original sauce plant, the one that the mom that I grew out and tried and sent some of the bud out to everybody.
Yeah. And this is actually like that auto pot as well, right? And the air bottom bag combo.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. I like that, man.
That's actually
how's that been running for you?
Well, that particular one, I believe, is a 6.6 gallon bag.
Big bag, yeah.
And then it was in a tray there and stuff. So I have the regular auto pot systems as well. That was just the valve that I threw in there because I was using the other auto pots in other things. So yeah, I ordered just the valve and I threw it in there.
Improvisation.
Right. I mean, I wanted a bottom water still, so why not?
Yeah.
And so yeah, auto pots are great. I definitely want to get more. Again, I'm not affiliated with them in any way, shape, or form. I don't have a discount code for them, nothing.
Yeah.
But if it works, it works.
I got you.
I use Mega Crop as my nutrients, for my base and my flower nutrients. And then yeah, Dynamico right there.
Dynamico, man.
That was a massive plant too. Yeah, it's my roots are always like that, and Jesus. Like I said, I tried out other things and I lift it up and I have like a little root ball or whatever, maybe 4 or 5 inches across and some dangling roots and stuff. But once I put Dynamico in there, I'm like, holy shit, this stuff works.
Yeah, it's a different ball game, man. And that's the proof in the pudding right here, guys. This is a Dynamico. Literally, smash a like for fucking Dynamico, man, because this is off the chart. Look at this root ball, man. Everything just looks so healthy as well. It looks like you can plop it back in somewhere and plant it right back over, man.
If I hadn't cut the top of it off, I probably could have done that.
Yeah, quite possible indeed.
And man, that's a dry one. That's actually after it's been sitting there drying for a few weeks or whatever. I pulled it out of the bag to clean and reuse the bags, and that's what was still there. So it's I've noticed it, and I transplant everything. I transplant all my autos, my photos, everything.
Interesting.
And I just got to keep an eye on the time because I have like maybe 10, 12, 15 minutes left.
All righty, man. I got you. Well, on that note, man, I think we should probably just segue into the Know Your Bud segment, which actually was my plan. So let's just jump into that right now. I like to call it the Know Your Bud segment because everyone that comes on to the show is my bud, and I like to find out what you do with your buds. So let's kick it off, man. I'm going to just throw out a couple options, and you just tell me what's your preference and why.
You got it.
First off, we got paper towel method, glass of water method, or straight into the soil. What's your preference and why?
So when like I said, I grow, everything starts off small. So I transplant everything, auto, photo, whatever.
Gotcha.
So when I'm growing an autoflower, it goes right into the solo cup.
Yeah.
growing the photo period, I actually use the Honor Cannabis, their seed mats.
Okay.
I use those, and I found I get 99% germination rate with them.
Okay.
They're fantastic. I have 3 of them. I bought the first one. It worked so good. I bought 2 more because I'm constantly popping seeds, and I like to clean and dry them in between. So if I'm doing more than just 10 or whatever, because I'll throw a handful of seeds if I'm just testing germination. I'm not planning on growing them out.
For sure.
Of my own stuff. I'll just throw a handful in there. It's looks like a big golf ball under the thing, and then I zip lock it. And so from there they go into solo cups, and then once the roots are ready, I transplant them up and stuff like that. So
smart.
That's what I do.
I like that. Okay, feminized or regs?
Oh boy. So for personal stuff that I'm growing for personal use, I like feminized.
Okay.
1,000% feminized.
All right.
I don't, if it's for me, I just want to know it's a girl, so I can just not have to worry about it. I still obviously inspect the plant and I train him and do all that, but I want to know at least it's supposed to be a female. Yeah. But for the hunt for breeding purposes, I like regs.
Okay, makes sense, man. Makes a lot of sense. Now, soil or soilless?
So I grow in cocoa perlite, so that'd be a soilless medium.
Oh, I like that, man. And I like
I've grown in everything, and like I said, I test in all the different things. So
yeah,
cocoa is my jam. I like cocoa. I like how it is. I get I'm there. I don't know. I like it. I've had good success with it. So.
As my good friend Scotty would say, I'm a loco for the cocoa.
Yes, exactly. That's good. I like that. I'm gonna steal that.
Yeah, dude. You actually got a t-shirt with it on there. Now, photo periods or autoflowers? Tough one.
No, both.
Ooh, we can't pick one. I like that, man.
How about this? I like the cannabis plant.
Yeah, we don't discriminate over here, bro.
No. It's also like asking me, which one of your sons do you like better?
I like that analogy too, bro. You can't pick, man. You can't pick. You just can't. Well, synthetic or organic? This one.
So I basically grow them with both. So I have a lot of organic inputs that I use. Megacrop is vegan.
Synganic, maybe.
Yeah, I would say synganic. Megacrop is vegan. It's not certified organic or omni listed.
Okay.
That, but the majority of the ingredients are organic in Megacrop. So
yeah. Interesting. I've never tried Megacrop, but I've heard a lot of good things, and I've seen them. I think Beginner Buds used them in a couple of videos and stuff. That's where I first found out about him. Now, this one is a little controversial, dude. Wet trim or dry trim?
Oh, man. So I do kind of half and half because I do trim a little bit when they're wet. The bigger fan leaves come off and things like that.
Yeah.
And then I also use the Herb Now dryer if I'm testing something and I have to wet trim that all the way up.
Interesting.
Or you don't have to. You can throw it in kind of partially trim, but I prefer to, if I'm going to do that to get a good sample, I'll wet trim it all the way up. And I dry in all different manners. So
yeah, I found that like I've used a couple of like the machines and stuff, like the spin hand crank ones and stuff, but I'm only gonna use that if I've got like a mad amount of flour, because I found it just sometimes it just affects my flour in a way that I don't like. But a lot of people, they got their preferences and stuff, man. So I feel you on that one 100%. Now, bong or joint?
I'm a joint guy. So, right.
We're rolling up the joints.
I'm a cone. I should say a cone guy because I can't roll to save my life. I wanted to go to that rolling master class that they had, but it was like on day one at 1:00 and we were like just starting to get into stuff. So everybody picks on me because I can't roll, but I do actually. I have a bubbler that I use a lot too.
Sweet.
And then I just picked up that Dr. Dabber.
Yeah, I've actually got mine as well. I haven't even cracked it out of the boxes yet, dude.
You're gonna love it. You're gonna freaking love it. It's awesome.
I can't wait. I'm probably gonna crack it out as soon as we finish this episode, man. But the next one though, and the last one, is edibles or vapes.
Oh boy.
I know some of you guys eat edibles for a living, so I gotta ask.
I'm definitely not one of those people. If I ate that whole brownie, I wouldn't have done until Monday. I wouldn't have woke up till Monday. I do partake in edibles every now and then, but I think I'm gonna have to say vapes over. If you're gonna put a gun to my head and tell me I gotta pick one, then it's vapes. Yeah, I do, but I love edibles too. No, that's an unfair question.
Yeah, I love these questions, man. They bring out a lot.
I like cannabis. How about that? Can I just do
This is a smart guy over here, lads. I love it, man. Well, that's an awesome Know Your Bud segment, man. Guys, smash the like button for that. We have an awesome guest on with us, man. And I had an awesome time kicking with him, man. And for those who don't know, this is actually a cup filled with a dab that we got.
It was basically almost 2 dabs. That was awesome.
It was awesome.
That guy is kick ass. You know, you got to have him on your show because I would love to hear more about it. And his background story, everything is just it's heartwarming. Man. Yeah, it's heartwarming. You know.
100%, man. Well, I think we've touched on a lot of different things, man. We've touched on a lot of breeding stuff, a lot of seed making stuff. We've touched on a lot of your personal preferences, how you grow, and just finding out more about you as, you know, as a human being and a person, man. And you're a genuine and amazing friggin' human being, dude. So thank you so much for kicking with us, man. But before you go, where can all the guys and gals who are listening right now find you? Where can they, you know, if they want to just get in touch with you or tune into some of your great stuff that you got going on, where can they do that, bro?
So I have my main page, which is at the Big Green Guy on Instagram.
Okay.
Then my breeder page is actually Green Guy _genetics.
Yeah.
On Instagram. And then I'm in some of the different Discord rooms. I'm in the cultivation conversation one. I'm in crafting cannabis. I have my own Discord, but I haven't opened it up to the public yet. We're actually populating it with pictures from my test team and things right now. So you guys can see kind of progression pictures of different things if you want to go back and look at things. So
that's dope.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't use a lot of the other social medias. So
I got you.
IG's where it's at for me.
IG, and you're super responsive on IG, man, and that's something I am not. So props to you on that, dude, because I suck at responding to DMs, man.
It's not easy, but I make sure I do it because I know how much of an impact it had on me when I was just starting to grow and stuff. So
yeah, for sure, man. Well, thanks so much for kicking it, man. I had an awesome time kicking with you, man. We had an awesome chat, and everyone who's tuned in, I'm sure they have had a friggin' awesome time as well. We know lots of laughs and lots of fun, man. So guys, smash the like button for that, and thanks a lot for kicking it with us, Paul.
Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it. It was obviously great meeting you in person and then getting to chat again. It's like surreal. It's like one of those things like, wow, these people are all famous around me.
No, I'm
someone's like, hey,
famous,
I got
dude.
to shake the Big Green Guy's hand. I'm like, well, I'm not really famous. But these guys check this guy out. He's famous.
Not me at all. He points at Ari. Where's Ari? Where's he at?
Ari's famous for sure. Ari's awesome.
Literally, dude. Well, thank you so much, man. I know you got some stuff to go and do, and I got to head out as well, man. But we had an awesome chat, and hopefully we can do it again sometime soon, man. I'd love to have you.
Definitely. That'd be awesome.
Well, guys, don't forget, smash the like, stay high, and stay fly.